Hi, I'm Cristin Lowe, as you know, and I am a certified family law specialist, and this, of course, is Josh Clark, our
Hello.
certified divorce coach. And Josh and I were actually having a conversation earlier this afternoon when we decided that it would be a better idea for us to talk about it with all of you, our clients, and discuss a really important topic that's coming up, which is the holiday season. So Josh has brainstormed kind of a list.
So there's a couple topics that we want to talk about today. We want to talk about, these are all things that just sort of come up when you're dealing with the holidays and when you have kids. How to handle the first Christmas without your kids. Hopefully it's not going to be an issue, but probably it is. How to manage splitting your Christmas for your kids. If your kids are having Christmas, one Christmas with you, one Christmas with the other parent. Fending off holiday depression, that's a big one. Having Christmas a little earlier or later, trying to sort of work around the visitation schedule so that you're having a festive holiday, even if it's not December 25th. How to avoid getting trapped in the presents equal affection cycle, and how to handle if one parent's Christmas is a lot more lavish. Financial issues play a big part, and especially with little kids, it's easy for them to get caught up in the biggest present is the best. And finally, kind of building new Christmas traditions for your kids, or a holiday tradition, certainly.
Okay, Josh, so we haven't actually rehearsed this, and so we don't have a set order.
This is true. This is
us
true.
just trying to talk to our clients and try
Yeah.
to figure out and give them a little bit of advice for the holiday season. So I kind of see it as at least two big categories, which is one is the group of clients that don't have their children this holiday season, and then the clients that do have their children this holiday season. And then kind of general advice that applies to both groups. So where do you want to start?
Well, I'm thinking, let's start off with the folks who maybe don't have their kids right now, just because I kind of think that it's likely they're going to need the most help.
Yes. So first of all, our hearts go out to you. It's
Yeah.
not easy, and it's a really difficult transition for you to have to go into seeing your children every Thanksgiving or Christmas or New Year's or whatever your holiday traditions are, and suddenly only seeing them on an alternating basis. It's really difficult. So take a deep breath. You're going to get through it,
Right.
First of all. But I think Josh, we were talking about this earlier. It's an opportunity, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, one of the sort of points that we talked about was building new holiday traditions. The thing is, you're not married. And so the traditions that you had as a married family don't necessarily apply, which is an opportunity for you to have new traditions that your kids won't share with your ex, that your kids are only going to have with you. Maybe you go out to the botanical garden every Christmas day. Or, if you get your kids, if you're celebrating Christmas a week later, great, things will be open that would not be open on Christmas Day. Focus on making your Christmas different. Because different is special, and different is something that they're not going to have with your ex-spouse.
So if you don't have your children this holiday season, it's easy to kind of get wrapped up in self-pity, and I understand that. It's really easy to feel lonely and to feel like it's unfair, but at the same time, remember, you're going to have your own family. You can absolutely spend time with your family, you can spend time with your friends, you can build your new holiday traditions, basically on an alternating year basis. And you can also give back. I think one of the biggest pieces of advice that I can give you is volunteer your time. And it's really a good way to refocus yourself and realize that there are other people in your position, there are people worse off than you, and it just kind of gives you an opportunity to give back and focus on your blessings and what you do have in your life. And remember that you do actually have your children, and you are going to see them sometime during the holidays. So I think focusing on that is really important if you don't have your children this holiday season.
Absolutely. I mean, additionally, look, almost certainly you have single friends. You have friends who have not been married, or maybe friends who are in the same place you're in, friends who have been through divorce. Spend time around Christmas with them. Make time for some of the folks who have experienced something similar to what you're experiencing. Misery loves company, but also, you can alleviate some of the misery. You can avoid some of the depression by spending time with people you love and who love you.
And that kind of segs into what you were talking about earlier, which is Christmas doesn't have to be December 25th, or it doesn't have to
absolutely.
be December 24th. Odds are you're going to have some portion of your children's winter break. And I don't know about you, but I don't know of a single child who doesn't like the idea or the opportunity to have more than one Christmas.
Yes.
And you can make it special. It doesn't have to be identical to what your spouse has or your ex-spouse has. It doesn't have to be a competition. This is your own special time with your children. And it's an opportunity for you to make the most of it. It's an opportunity for you to make it a special time for your children. And remember, your children are looking to you to be the example. If you're depressed about not having December 25th, they're going to be upset about not being with you for December 25th. Your actions, your attitude, your behavior, the way you set it up, that's going to make it or break it for you and your children this holiday season.
So we kind of want to segue a little bit into how to avoid getting trapped in the presents equal affection cycle, or how to handle it if you or your spouse is having a much more lavish Christmas. After a divorce, competition for affection from the kids is something that it happens no matter how hard you try to avoid it. And after a divorce, no one's finances are what they were before the divorce. And so you want to be real careful that you don't end up trying to buy your kids affection, because that is a road that has no ending. That will just keep going. Yeah, I mean, what I was saying, one of sort of my solutions is what I mentioned before, which has to do with make new traditions. Make Christmas special because you're doing something fun. Rather than just because the kids are getting presents. Give your kids presents. Don't tell your kids that I told you not to give them presents. But that, if that's the highlight, then of course it's going to be about money. If the highlight is, watching a movie every year that everyone loves, or going out and doing something, that's something that it's a lot harder for someone to compete with you on. That's going to be special.
So it's very similar. What I advise to clients is, first of all, I think you need to communicate with your ex-spouse, because the last thing you want to do is get the same gift for your children. And that's just a competition that's not going to end well for anybody. So I think communicating with the other parent and trying to get some sort of reasonable budget for the two of you. Make it not so much competition, make it a collaborative effort. Obviously, it doesn't work for everybody. Sometimes it doesn't fit. But if the two of you can communicate and exchange Christmas wish lists for your kids are going to be better off. And that's really the moral of the story, is that Christmas, the holidays, it's supposed to be a time for your children. It's not supposed to be about you. It's not supposed to be about your ex. Think about your kids and what they would want. And I think that a very concrete example is talking a client through that, and we came up with a Christmas list, and we were able to exchange it with the other side, and it was really a successful Christmas for the kids because both parents were able to give big gifts, and then the ones that they couldn't agree on, they agreed that they were just going to make a gift from Santa, and there was going to be one at each parent's house. And so the child didn't know, and the parents were happy, and it worked out really well for everyone. Do you ever have a specific example when coaching your clients, Josh?
Well, I mean, I'll tell you, I have specific examples from my life of times, when I received, oh God, I'm showing my age, but times when I received the same Nintendo game at both houses. And don't make your kids make separate lists. You guys talk. I mean, in this, as in so many things, everything is going to go more smoothly if you're able to cultivate a relationship with your ex where the two of you are able to be positive and skilled co-parents, and being able to communicate is part of that. And I know it's not easy. I mean, God knows, I'm not saying that it's simple, but it's going to be so much better for you and your kids.
And that's what the holidays are about, right? And that's at the end of the day. That's supposed to be the one time of year that we're able to set aside our differences and work well together. And what better gift can you give to your children this holiday season than for you and your ex-spouse to be able to give them a really good holiday season? That is what they're going to remember. It doesn't matter the price tag on the presents if the two of you are bickering and putting them in the middle of it. If you're able to give your children the greatest gift of peace and happiness during that time and let them be a child during this season, that is the best gift. I really think that is.
Absolutely. Well, I mean, also, I'll tell you, if you and your ex are able to communicate it will also avoid issues of your kids playing you off against each other, which happens occasionally. You know, it can be an issue. If the kids get the sense that they can get more goodies by playing mom and dad off against each other, that'll happen. Make clear that mom and dad talk, and the kids aren't getting away with anything. So,
Absolutely.
so let's see what else we got here.
Let's talk about splitting Christmas for your kids, or the kids having Christmas at two houses.
Yeah.
So I think one of the issues, and I know I try and do that when we're creating the custody orders, is for the parents to think about what their holiday travel plans are. Because what we don't want, and what I always tell the clients is, you do not want your children traveling all the time on Christmas Eve and Christmas Day. That just makes zero sense whatsoever. So I think that's something that you have to work out first and foremost, is you want to minimize the amount of driving back and forth on Christmas Eve and Christmas Day, or whenever you're celebrating your holidays. It just doesn't help anybody but yourselves. And again, this is about the kids. We want to focus on your children having a good holiday season during this time. So I think traveling and communicating and figuring out the best points so you're not stuck in traffic during that time, that makes the most sense, first and foremost.
Well, and you know, luckily, around Christmas specifically, there are these two well-established traditions of you open your presents Christmas Eve or you open your presents Christmas Day. And so there's a little bit of flexibility there. You know, it's not like watching the fireworks on the 4th of July where it happens at this one time and that's it. I think that, you know, once again, if you're able to be a skilled communicator with your ex, you can even, you know, do some coordination around splitting Christmas house to house. Issues like, well, you know, boy, we're really gonna have a heavy dinner. Okay, so, you know, when we get them to your place for breakfast, maybe don't break out giant piles of bacon and eggs. You know, that kind of thing. Something that I know my parents did from time to time is, you know, if one of them gave me, say, like a computer, then I would go to the other one's house and, oh, look, there's a bunch of new games. That kind of thing. You know, where splitting Christmas house to house can end up being a benefit to the kids. It can be, you know, more special stuff rather than more time in the car. Right.
Absolutely. And I think also remembering that when you and your spouse got married, you each brought your own individual traditions into the relationship. And now that you're divorcing, you can still maintain each other's and your own traditions. And I think it's really important to show respect. Your spouse's traditions may have been adopted by you, but it's really respectful if you allow that spouse to keep that special tradition. Let's say hanging stockings or doing popcorn or watching a movie on Christmas Eve, whatever that family's specific tradition was. I think it's very respectful if you can help to honor that. And I also think it's really important for you to listen to your children. We talk about doing new traditions and establishing new patterns and behaviors. A lot of times your kids do want to hold on to the old traditions as well. And I think it's important for you to listen to your kids and to respect them and understand that it's not favoring the other parent just because your child wants to do what they used to do during the marriage. I think it's important that, again, the holidays are about your kids, and it's not that they're favoring the other parent. It's not that they don't like you. It's not that they don't want to do something new with you. It's that this is what they've grown up with. This is what they like to do. This is what reminds them of the holidays. So be flexible. Don't assume that they're necessarily going to want to do the traditions. Don't assume that they're going to want everything new. Talk to them. Have a conversation, especially if they're a little bit older. What do they want to do? What's their input? What do they want to do at mom's house, dad's house? What do they want?
Absolutely.
I think that's really respectful to do to your kids.
Absolutely. Well, and you know, one thing that can be helpful in this, I think, especially if you're ending up having Christmas a little earlier or later than the 24th and 25th, is, you know, it gives you the opportunity to do things like involving maybe your kids' friends, you know, who they wouldn't be able to have over on Christmas morning because they'd be busy. You can have them over for a big Christmas dinner. You know, hey, invite a couple friends, we're going to open presents, we'll have ham, whatever, right?
Yes. And then going back on that's flexibility, and you don't want to be too rigid. I think that's the most important thing. If you know your ex-spouse always has a big Christmas Eve dinner, maybe it's not the best thing for you to adamantly say, I want every other Christmas Eve. Maybe that's not what your kids want. Again, it's not personal. Let your children have the best holiday possible. And that's, again, how you have Christmas successfully at two homes. It's communication, it's cooperation, it's putting the kids first. It's just thinking about the holiday spirit, really.
Yeah. I mean, look, I knew a family where the presents that they would open on Christmas morning were from Santa. And the presents that they would open in Southern California at Dad's house, half a week later, those are from Rudolph. Little things like that where it's still special, and it's just special in a little different way. And I think that differentiation can also help you have some pride in your thing, or in your Christmas being different, being your Christmas with your kids, rather than just a lame follow-up to the real Christmas that they already had, because it is a real Christmas.
Yes, it absolutely does not have to be on the 24th. It does not have to be on the 25th. It's what you make of them.
Absolutely.
And it's just like you were when you were married, right? You spend time at your extended family's home. It's not necessarily on Christmas Day. It's not necessarily on Christmas Eve, but it's still part of your Christmas.
Yeah.
It's not as different as you would think it is.
I think that pretty much has covered our list of topics.
I think so. I think we're talked enough.
A little bit exhaustively. We hope that you have found this helpful. Certainly feel free to call me if you're having any difficulties around the holidays. If you're not planning on spending the holiday with your spouse, I hope that this was helpful for you, and feel free to give me a call. I hope I can be helpful for you.
Yes, and we wish you happy holidays. We know it's probably not the easiest time in your lives right now, but we hope that this video helps a little bit. We hope that you have a wonderful holiday with or without your children. And if you have any questions regarding your orders, about transportation, about those nitty-gritty details, please call me and we will work that out for you. And please do it sooner rather than later so you can have the most relaxed and peaceful holiday season. Thank you.
Thanks.